This week I've come to Switzerland and the shores of Lake Geneva. My final destination is the town of Montreux. Also tonight, Toya Wilcox samples the newest weekend destination when she flies to Bermuda, famed for its pink sandy beaches. Shonko goes undercover to test a late availability holiday to Benidorm. John Holdsworth goes windsurfing in Cornwall for less than £100. And we welcome Olivia Newton-John to holiday.
Hi! My daughter Chloe and I are taking a riding holiday in Donegal, and it's fantastic.
Switzerland, home of the fondue sets, the Swiss Army knives and the precision watches, is, some suggest, a little boring. That perfection for which the Swiss are so renowned is rather dull. Well, let's see, shall we? In the meantime, I shall sit back and enjoy the rail journey from Geneva Airport to Montreux, which I'm told takes 1 hour and 13 minutes precisely. I was already beginning to enjoy the organisation of the Swiss. My case had been collected for me at the airport, and the next time I saw it was at the hotel. Incidentally, if you opt for a room with a lake view, make sure it's above the hotel tree line. It's rather wasted otherwise. The hotel commands a prime position on the Swiss Riviera. 6 miles of promenades saturated with 1,200 varieties of flowers and shrubs. It's all so perfect, so clean, so neat. The Swiss have everything under control, except the weather. Well, I'm warm and dry here, but over there, that band of mist you can see is actually heavy rain just across the lake. And behind that is France and the town of Evian. So I suppose in a few months' time, that rain could actually end up in bottles on your supermarket shelves. A little sooner than that, though, it moved across to drench Montreux. But even the Swiss landscape manages to rise above the inconvenience of a few showers. The next day, I visited the ski resort of Les Uns. During the summer, it's popular with walkers and mountain bikers. The Swiss have reason to pride themselves on many of their inventions, but yodeling, well...
This is how to yodel, yodel-a-dee, yodel-a-dee.
Fortunately, it's confined mainly to special events. You'll be unlucky to hear it echoing around the hillside. What I did find, though, was an example of their creativity. After a while, nothing surprises you about the Swiss ability to provide. Here is a mountaintop restaurant, you'd expect that, but this one revolves. Well, given their ingenuity, it follows that the Swiss invented this. The ubiquitous Swiss Army knife always comes in handy for peeling apples, uncorking bottles, trimming your fingernails, changing plugs, or in the case of one poor chap, actually amputating your leg. He used one of these blades when his leg became trapped under a log. Oh, you never know when you're going to need one. They say it's easier going down. Well, there are certainly more options. The local paragliding school operates from here, and for £47 you can take a tandem trial flight with a professional instructor.
You could be lifted, lifted, lifted. You could be lifted.
More excitement and a definite change of scenery. Take the cable car up 10,000 feet to the glacier at Les Diablerets. You'll find snow here most of the summer. Here I am, in the middle of August, skiing on some glacier somewhere. It's fantastic, it's a lovely sense of freedom. Skiers would never accuse the Swiss of being boring, especially since they introduced the world's first ski lift in 1932. The Swiss may patent more inventions than any other European nation, but they are a little short on famous names. Only the legendary William Tell springs to mind. The Montreux area, though, has had its fair share of memorable residents. Charlie Chaplin, James Mason, and the poet Byron. He took shelter in the 13th century Château de Chillon when his boat was caught in a storm. Byron was here only a matter of hours, but it was long enough for him to make his mark. British tourists get rather excited when they see that one. They obviously think it's the work of Richard Branson. Believe that, you'll believe anything. And by the way, the Queen was here in 1980. Flintstonian it may be, but the visitor's book makes interesting reading. Unless Montreux is humming to the sounds of the annual jazz festival, there isn't a great deal to do here except perhaps a boat trip, or maybe a boat trip. The locals recommend the casino. It's famous not so much for its gambling, more for the fact that the original caught fire during a Frank Zappa concert. The Swiss version of roulette allows you to win a maximum of about £15, but not wanting to be seen dull by the rest of the world, the authorities are relaxing those rules from next year.
Rien ne va plus.
The delicate artistry of Swiss music boxes, though, is second to none. A top-of-the-range model can sell for as much as £45,000. That revolving ballerina in your jewellery box will pale by comparison at the Music Box Museum in Sainte-Croix. This is one of my favourite pieces. It may look like a grandfather clock, but actually it was probably one of the first ever public jukeboxes. It dates back to the early 1900s. Cavaliera Rusticana, but they've got plenty more in here. Let's see. Oh, lovely. Living doll. Cliff Richard. Maybe joking, Cliff, sorry. In a land of rolling hills and cuckoo clock houses, it's something of a shame to discover that the cuckoo clock is in fact German. Still, the Swiss do lay claim to the team sport of bread and potato dunking, fondue. In an effort to make their food more interesting, the Swiss opted to complicate the means of eating it rather than improving the taste. Still, any nation that can disguise dry bread and cheese as an international dish deserves a round of applause. From the cheese chalet in the village of Châteaudet, it's a train journey back to Montreux. In a week when our tour guide apologised for being 2 minutes late one morning, it was refreshing to find the train was delayed, but it was worth the wait to ride the Crystal Panoramic Express. This is a fabulous way to see the Alps. What I like is that the train has been designed with the passenger in mind, even with the windows going up into the roof so that you can see the mountains above. Well, is Switzerland boring? Put it this way, she's rather like the class SWAT. She gets things right with routine predictability, not prone to letting her hair down, yet she has a certain calm serenity which the rest of us can only envy, even if she does yodel. A week's half-board at the Eden-No-Lac Hotel on Lake Geneva next spring cost from £675, including scheduled flights, transfers by train, the lake cruise and a half-price travel card for the Swiss transport system. One girl from Australia became a household name well before those Aussie soaps dominated tea-time viewing. And it seems this star's talents go beyond singing, acting and dancing. She also loves to ride horses. So we asked Olivia Newton-John and her daughter Chloe to follow those country roads to breathtaking Donegal in the northwest of Ireland for a riding holiday.
What do you expect when you go on holiday to Ireland? Well, my daughter Chloe was hoping to see a leprechaun, and I wasn't averse to a little magic either. Our base for the next week, the small town of Dunfanaghy. When you come to Ireland, you need to get stuck into the local culture. Wide open spaces, the fresh air, and of course, the local Blackstone. We're about to swap our bar stools for saddles. Terry and her son Aidan run Stracoma Riding School.
For you, we have chosen a very nice Irish hunter known as Jenny, and Chloe has got a Connemara known as Pepperoni.
You said something before about a famine trail. What is that?
It's an old road that was built 150 years ago during the famine in Ireland, and in Dunfanaghy there was a workhouse.
But the people that ran the workhouse decided that it was better to have these people doing something, even if it was something useless, rather than doing nothing. And this road starts in the same place and finishes in the same place, goes to absolutely nowhere. And it's a fairly sad piece in Ireland's history, but it's quite beautiful as well.
Well, here we are in a beautiful part of Donegal. We just rode through the most glorious scenery, and we came here and ended up here for a catered lunch. First for the horses, and over there for us.
This is wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, and smoked salmon. Oh, we were sitting in the middle of the Irish countryside with silverware. I know. And plate. Oh, this is the height of elegance.
But see, this is what you deserve when you come on holidays in Donegal.
Oh.
I love that name,
Donegal.
It's called Donegal. and it comes from, in Donegal town, south of here, there's a castle, and it was called Dún na Gael. Dún is a fort in Irish, and na Gael is the foreigners. It comes from the Gauls, so it's called the Fort of the Foreigners because it was a Viking fort.
Are Vikings Irish?
No, Scandinavian.
No problem working off that lunch. This is a serious riding holiday, and you need to be able to canter to do it. Chloe and I were getting to grips with English saddles, a bit of a change from the Western ones we use at home. No museums, markets, or messing on the river on this holiday. It's all about you, the horse, and Ireland. Oh. 5 hours in the saddle. How are you feeling, Chloe?
Exhausted.
Oh, you must be. Here, let me help you get your boots up if I can get up.
I wonder how the horses are going to sleep tonight.
Oh. The horses seem to be doing just fine, and so will we after a long hot soak and a sing-along in the hotel bar. A new day, a new part of the trail. Time to prepare the horses for a day at the seaside. Next horse. This is my horse.
It looks like pepperoni.
Are you hungry? It's like my muesli. Yeah, you're a good girl. You are expected to tack up and care for your horse, but don't worry, there's always a guiding hand throughout the trip.
Okay, Chloe, just tighten that one up now.
Where in there?
Yeah, that's the one. Pull it up there. Yeah.
They're in fantastic condition, you know.
Yeah, they're in
They're
good
the
shape.
best coats. And I couldn't believe yesterday that these horses ran and ran and they never seem to get tired.
Well, they do. If they do a trail, they do a 6-day trail, and then they
Right.
get 8 days off afterwards.
I want their diet or I want their trainer.
No, it's just 6 days on, 8 days off. I think is what.
Well, maybe I
does it.
should try that.
Yeah.
They're in great shape, though. Well, I can't believe this. I never dreamed that there'd be beaches like this in Ireland. It's like being back home. Oh, look at you, Missy. Trotting away. What do you think of the saddle?
You know, Western, you feel more secure, but the thing I like a lot about English is that you actually feel the horse, you know?
A week's riding holiday at the Strathcona Riding School costs £885 next spring. The price includes accommodation at Arnold's Hotel, full Irish breakfast and dinner, a picnic or pub lunch, and riding every day. The holiday is available from April until September. Some holidaymakers feel that booking a trip at the last minute can be rather like a game of roulette. And is the money that you save worth the gamble? Well, Shonker took his chances and went undercover to put a late availability holiday to the test.
So, this is what they mean by late availability. 2 in the morning, with no idea which hotel I'm heading for. Flying in the dark to the sun. Alicante Airport, and the mystery tour continues. Have I got a bed for the night? It's 4:20 in the morning, and I've just found out that I'm staying at this hotel. According to the brochure, it's 4-star, and at this time of year would cost £535 for 14 nights. I'm not complaining, yet. And why should I? I paid £375 half-board for a fortnight in the same hotel. But let's see what we've got for the money. lights now. It says we've got air conditioning. That did absolutely nothing. Maybe you can live without aircon at 5 in the morning, but can you do without drinking water? But there's no water to drink?
No.
In the whole hotel?
No, the hotel.
But I've come from England. It's been a long night.
Yeah, but it's closed, I'm sorry.
So, not even water?
No, there's a change outside.
So, if you're thirsty at night, it's your lookout. Unless you can wait for the bar or the restaurant to open. Late breakfast? Early lunch? I can't remember. But there was a good spread at the self-service. The hotel is the dogs. Well, the Dalmatians. And it boasts a 4S rating. I really don't know what they were thinking of when they handed out 4 stars to this hotel. No room service, no drinking water after the bar's shut. You can't phone out from your room, and every once in a while there's a bit of a whiff from the plumbing. Mind you, it is spotlessly clean. The food is very good, the staff are helpful, and I've got it dirt cheap. So, who's complaining? Well, Eddie was. He'd booked months ahead and paid 1,400 quid for a week in one room with his wife and 2 grandkids, which works out at £350 each, about the same as I'd paid for 2 weeks. Eddie didn't need me to tell him he hadn't got the best deal in town.
When you're swimming around in the pool and a guy pops up and asks you what you've paid, you know, I mean, we were really satisfied until he said that. And then he said he paid 950 for the same deal. It's a bit annoying, and that was for a fortnight. We were on here for a week.
Benidorm, one of the first package destinations, still attracts 1 million Brits a year. On a clear day, you may see a patch of sand to call your own. £8 million of EU money is paying for a new beachfront. It'll never be Bermuda, but it has its attractions. Aqualandia, for one, which the owners claim is the biggest water park in Europe. Going down fast. That's what a lot of people thought would happen to prices if they booked late. I was lucky, but others found they were dropped in it. The last-minute deal turned out to be a bad deal for this family.
We didn't think we were going to get fixed up. It was as simple as that. It was looking very doubtful, and this one came up just within 4 days of our departure, literally. We discussed it over the weekend, and we went back for it on the Monday, and it had gone up £200, where, generally speaking, you think the nearer the departure time, the prices will come down.
Whatever you pay for the package, the real bargain in Benidorm is the cost of a good time. Food is still good value, and the legendary nightlife shouldn't damage your pocket too much, though it'll probably leave the rest of you in little pieces. Pace yourself, don't start too early, relax, take in a show, have a beer. A little sing-song to get you in the mood. And a drink to lubricate the old vocal cords. Practice the art of the Blarney, helped by a Guinness or 2. If you're in Benidorm for just a fortnight and you're serious about the nightlife, you should be averaging about 10 bars and 5 discos per night. Now it's about 3 a.m. in the morning and I'm well behind quota. Mind you, I'm not complaining. I was in no state to complain. Is this what they mean by late raveability?
And if you want to book a late availability holiday, you'll find them through the national press, travel agents, or as we did on teletext. And here are a few of our tips. Don't be frightened to bargain. Brinkmanship sometimes works. Less cash is better than no cash at all to the tour operator. Sometimes you can secure further reductions by finding a holiday on teletext and then buying it through a travel agent offering discounts, which may get you another 10% off your deal. And don't forget, it's always a gamble. You need time for visas and inoculations, and double check the weather, or you may find yourself in India in the monsoon season.
Dawn over the southern coast of Cornwall, and the sun looks very smug indeed, as does the small fishing village of Coverack. Bathed in the early morning light, you just want to chop it up into tiny pieces and call it a jigsaw. My business here is windsurfing. 2 nights full board at the Coverack Youth Hostel, and it's a remarkable place. Dormitory accommodations, not the Ritz, but the view is 5-star luxury. And I tell you, even the bathroom has a backdrop. All in all, with apples picked fresh from the orchard, this is the cat's breakfast, even if we do have to do our own washing up before the serious business of the day.
I just better practice that. Yeah.
Me learning the international distress signal at the safety briefing. Clearly, I need dry dock rehearsal time, and I feel I'm learning not just to sail the board, but to dance with her, my slightly unwilling partner, kind of like a blind date.
You're going to leave me here, aren't you? You're all going to go off, and
All tuition and equipment is included, struggling into my suit a necessary ritual before my dance with aquatic destiny. I've named my sailboard Julie, and together we grapple for what us windsurfers call the secure position.
Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I grow weak.
That's fall number 5. I've managed to sail approximately nowhere. Later, one of the instructors even manages to fall in better than me. I don't care, I'm starving. Though by the afternoon session, me and Julie have finally hit it off in what I can only call a miracle of hand-sail coordination.
Excellent, well done, John.
And as dusk arrives, I feel like a macho character out of an Aussie soap. And as any Australian will tell you, surfing of any kind is inextricably linked to the social concept of the barbecue. Here in Cornwall, this tradition is being followed to the letter. And there'll be plenty of opportunity to burn off all that fat tomorrow.
That windsurfing break costs £95 for 2 nights and includes your accommodation in the hostel, breakfast, packed lunch, an evening meal, your equipment and all the tuition. The season finishes at the end of this month, so if you're quick you could squeeze in a try before then. Failing that, it starts up again in March. It was once considered chic to spend 48 hours in New York, but that's possibly a little passé now. The newest weekend destination is a tiny island in the Atlantic with a population of just 60,000 and the promise of the pinkest, sandiest beaches you've ever seen, Bermuda. Toya Wilcox reports.
I love you, darling. I love you.
Bermuda claims to be a friendly place, and Johnny Barnes has been doing his best to prove it for the last 20 years. Also guaranteed to bring a smile to your face is the Rush Hour fashion stakes, Bermuda shorts and socks to match. Now, the rear view of Rush Hour may be hard to leave behind if you have plenty of time to kill.
But if you're on a short stay holiday, the first rush you're going to want to see is the rush of the waves.
And these come in all shapes and sizes. If a long, wide landscape is not for you, then just around the corner you can find a pint-sized cove where it's oh so easy to lose track of time. I've only got 3.5 days to see this placid pastel island, and traffic controls mean no hire cars here. Well, I plump for the next best thing.
Well, the speed limit's only 20 miles an hour, but at least it's go fast red.
Head out on the highway, looking for adventure in whatever comes our way. Born to be wild.
And if you get a little saddle sore, you can always chop and change. Despite the legend of the infamous triangle, pottering around above the island is a gentle experience, only interrupted by a surprise shimmer from soft pink beaches. Yes, they really are pink.
Oh, I like the look of those boats. I could go on that.
All this surface stuff may be all right for some, but there are those of us who need to get deeper and deeper.
And if scuba diving isn't your kind of thing, then this is the way to meet the fish and take a plunge.
My heart is longing to
When you're all washed up, land calls, but first a fashion tip.
Bermuda shorts are perfectly okay for men, accepted but less okay for women, and bare feet are out of the question in public areas. So are women in hair curlers.
Never let good advice go to your head. Over dinner, Custerfield Crockwell introduced me to a more appetising local tradition.
Now, Croc, tell us about this wonderful soup.
You know, it's made from plain fish. You boil it. Sometimes you boil it for 5-6 hours. Then you would put in a little bit of the black rum, just a speck now.
Yes.
And the sherry pepper. Just a bit more of the sherry pepper than you would the black rum. Make sure it's a Bermuda black rum. You taste that and tell me that's not really delicious.
Mmm.
Yeah?
Oh, that's so tasty.
It is.
Time was almost up, but with 8 golf courses on the island, I felt obliged to tee off.
Frankie, all I want to know is how to get a hole-in-one from here to there. What's the move?
Well, okay, the first thing you have to bear in mind is your swing should be like the hands of a clock. Just fire away. Okay, to be honest, I think you should take up tennis.
No, Frankie, I just need a bit of practice, and
Okay.
it won't take long.
Lots of luck.
Okay.
Oh, don't wait for me. I'm going to be a while yet. Just roll on the sunset.
I've heard of the Bermuda Triangle swallowing boats and planes, but golf balls?
A 3-night weekend break to Bermuda costs £499. The price includes direct flights and accommodation on a room-only basis at the Hamilton Princess Hotel, but you'll have to pay an additional £25 per person airport tax. There's also a 5-night break available, which costs £639. Details of all the holidays on tonight's show are on CFAX, page 618. Next week, I'm in the city with attitude. New York, New York. Carol gets the Abbey habit when she retreats inland from the packed beaches of Mallorca for a visit to 2 monasteries. Jenny Hull parties with the in crowd of Albufeira on the Algarve, the top hotspot for British holidaymakers going to Portugal. Monty Don and his 5-year-old son Tom pump up their tyres for a cycle tour of the Cotswolds. And John Holdsworth goes on a mini cruise for less than £100. So until next week, when I'll be in New York, it's goodbye from Switzerland.